50 years ago, a massive earthquake in Alaska generated a wave that traveled down the northwest coast until it reached the mouth of the Alberni Inlet. It reached Port Alberni and Alberni, the twin cities, in the wee small hours of March 28th, Good Friday. This week, Shaw TV remembers the tsunami.
Aaron Visiev Financial's Go Island is brought to you by Aaron Visiev Financial.
Well, hello. You are watching Go Island with our look back at the tsunami of 1964. 50 years ago, a wave that changed the face of these communities forever and in part triggered the amalgamation of Port Alberni and Alberni into one city. Now, one of the most remarkable things about this event has always been that there was no loss of life. So it's only fitting that we begin our look back by speaking to some of the men who answered the call that night, the Alberni Valley Rescue Squad. Welcome back. You are still watching Go Island. We are still talking about the 1964 tsunami, an event that changed this community forever. And some of those changes were physical changes that were put in place to help protect from future events. And we're here to tell us a little bit about this is Russell Dyson from the Regional District. Russell, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Nancy.
Now, Russell, where we're standing is at Clutesy Marina, and we have River Road right up behind us here. There were some physical changes made to River Road, weren't there?
Yeah, after the tsunami, River Road was elevated. I remember that as a child, and the work that took place to make that as a dike as well as a roadway.
Yeah, and I don't think when people drive down along, you don't realize you're driving on a dike, but that's what it is.
No, but if you look to your to left or right, whichever direction you're heading, look at the homes, and you'll see that the road is elevated above those homes. That wouldn't be the natural landscape if that hadn't happened.
No, and of course this area is all floodplain, designated as floodplain.
We have mapped the tsunami zone, and that's available for us to ensure that we can plan for the evacuation in the event that it happens again. We hope that's on the conscience of those that live within the zone. It certainly is part of the makeup of the education we provide.
Absolutely. Now, another change that was made is we had the first tsunami warning system in North America. It's no longer the only one, but the first.
Oh, I think it's the best one. The city of Port Alberni made that investment to put those speakers out there that enable us to tell people if there is an impending tsunami, to warn them so that they can get out in advance.
And some of the changes weren't physical, they weren't installation, it was just a state of mind. I think we all think about the possibility of this now.
Absolutely. I think it's on everybody's state of mind, whether you lived through it yourself or whether you have family or friends that do. In industry, at home, we're all conscious of it. And thank goodness it was an event that didn't cause any bodily harm or death, and we've learned from it and we've moved on from it.
Yeah. Now, the reason we're talking to Mr. Dyson today is because you are responsible for some of the emergency coordination, aren't you?
Yes, in the Alberni Valley, the rural areas and city contribute to emergency planning, and I help to oversee that with Laurie LaRue, and we do the preparations, we complete exercises, we've prepared a brand new plan, and we help to educate people too.
All important information. We're going to talk a little bit about the information that you need to keep yourself and your family safe in just a minute. But because this is Go Island and remembering the tsunami isn't the only thing that's happening this week, we do have some local stories to send you to. Well, welcome back. You are still watching Go Island, and I have to say some of those images and the photographs are just amazing. And if you go to our Facebook page, Shaw TV Port Alberni, we have some film footage that was captured the morning after the tsunami, Good Friday, 1964, March 28th, which is just amazing. I know you'll enjoy looking at it. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about emergency preparedness now, about getting ready for the eventuality of another tsunami or another large event of some kind. And here to tell us about it, I'm still with Mr. Russell Dyson. And Russell, you put a lot of thought into the emergency planning, don't you?
We do as much as we can, yes. And our message is personal preparedness is key. Having people personally prepared in the event, having a grab-and-go kit in the event that there is a tsunami warning and you have to vacate your home, having those essential things that you'll need to get by for at least 72 hours.
72 hours, and in the case of a tsunami, plan ahead so you know what your escape crowd is going to be out of town.
Absolutely. We've got all the mapping. We can let people know in advance. Our fire department in Port Alberni has done a tremendous job of going door to door, and it's surprising. A lot of people are already prepared, have those kits, know how they're going to get out. But the rest of us that don't necessarily live in the inundation zone might find us there. We're shopping or otherwise, and there's a warning. So we all kind of need to be more aware. So we really encourage that.
And that's a term you'll hear a lot of this week, inundation zone. Do you know where the inundation zone is? Do you know where you'll be safe in the case of a tsunami?
And we've mapped it out. There was an event 300 or 400 years ago, catastrophic event from a subduction earthquake off the coast. We've mapped that out, and you'd be surprised. The high water mark might have come up as high as the confluence of the Sproat and Stamp rivers, so it's a tremendous amount of water. We've also mapped the event from 1964 and can show people the differences and just how they need to prepare and where in town could possibly be inundated.
Unbelievable, the force of water when you're looking at the videos, at the photographs, what it did, and that wasn't as big as the one you're talking about 300 or 400 years ago.
No, and that's the one where the ground shakes dramatically. Get out. Yeah, that's the one that we won't be able to warn you necessarily, so you just need to take the precaution and get to high ground.
Now, obviously, we can't tell you everything you need to know in the 2 or 3 minutes that we're going to be talking right now. Where do people go to get information?
The regional district website is a good start. Our office, our coordinator, Lori LaRue, is there to meet with groups that want to hear about this and better prepare, so whatever they can do.
And there's also an event coming up that we're going to be telling you about in a minute, which you should be going to with yourself and your family. But first, we're going to go back to a few more local stories. Well, we are almost at the end of Go Island for another day. But before we go, we're going to tell you about that emergency planning, emergency preparedness event. And it is this week, Thursday, Russell?
It is Thursday at the ADSS auditorium at 7 o'clock.
And what can people expect if they come out to that?
Lots of good information. We'll be there to talk about personal preparedness within the Alberni Valley. We have Emergency Management BC that will be there, as well as some scientists that are experts on tsunamis and predicting tsunami events.
And these are some of the Neptune Project folks?
Yes, the network is undertaking a workshop that day, and they'll be available. It's perfect timing. They picked the anniversary of the event to hold that here in Port Alberni, so we're taking advantage of them being in town. And we have a special surprise too. The Portal players will be there to show you what happened in 1964 and what might happen if it happens again.
And this is something that really you should get out to, because if you live in Port Alberni, first of all, you should have one of these. There's a pamphlet on the tsunami, on emergency preparedness. It includes a map of the inundation zone. You can pick this up in City Hall or at the regional district, and you should come out to this event and find out what to expect.
Absolutely. Please come out on Thursday and at 7 o'clock at ADSS. And as you say, that pamphlet has some phenomenal information for people to be better prepared.
This is the week of looking back at the 1964 tsunami. Until we meet again, be good to each other and be prepared.